Hello, and welcome to the Grouping and Mapping course, Chapter 3, Lesson 1. In this video, we're going to learn about the APIs we'll be using in this chapter, building a base of knowledge and vocabulary needed to discuss the construction of our sample application for this course. Let's see that sample app now. In our sample application, there are several UI widgets we've been using during this course. We've used the Grouping and Mapping widget for building out our mappings, such as this one, the embodied carbon mapping, with its aggregate group and its defined properties. Those mappings are consumed by the three widgets at the bottom. First is our raw OData widget. It's used to quickly access the filtered data from our mappings. We use this as a tool to understand and validate our groups. Next is the procurement widget. This is used to build out a list of all the installations, specifically doors and windows, that need to go into the construction of this project. And finally is our environmental impact widget. This is used to visualize the data, our volume of aggregate material, providing us with a broad, intuitive understanding of the data. Each of these widgets have an API powering them, connecting them to the iTwin platform. Let's look at the documentation page for those APIs. A link to this page will be included in the description below. The report it's talking about here is a formal definition of report. Unlike the informal generic way we've been using in this course, here it has a specific meaning, a collection of mappings. These mappings are the same ones we created for our engineers. These enable the aggregation of iTwin data in a single place. That one place will be the reports for our engineers, Paul and Irene. The mappings we will be using fall under two headings. First is the mappings heading. These allow for the creation, modification, and retrieval of mappings and groupings for our engineers' data. Next is the data access APIs. These provide a convenient route to access the data in an iModel using the groupings and mappings we created. It's this data that will populate the reports for engineers. This may seem like a lot to take in, but there are tools we can use to make this easier for ourselves. Let me explain. We will not be consuming these APIs directly. We will be using a client. Our clients are going to be TypeScript classes that will interface with these endpoints directly. It's these that we will use in order to build up our user interfaces on top of. We've already seen this before. The sample application we've been using up to this point in the course has a few examples. One of these is the Grouping and Mapping widget. It should be familiar. It looks like this. The Grouping and Mapping widget has a mappings client behind it, as well as the mappings APIs that I just pointed out. And we're going to be following the same pattern later with our raw OData widget and the raw iModel OData client with the data access APIs or OData APIs behind that. And then we'll also be following the same pattern implementing the UI for our engineers' reports. In the next video, we'll talk a little bit more about where these clients are coming from and how our sample apps repository is organized in order to reflect this pattern. I'll see you then.